This is Chad Toyne with your Thursday, January 22 Market Minute from Trader PhD Ag Marketing. No updates on overhead price targets yet, but be looking for them next week. A big storm is going to move across the United States, and it's going to be a big snow event. Plenty of flight cancellations, but it's the cold that's moving the markets, affecting wheat and especially natural gas. About 4 nights of overnight lows below zero here in Iowa are in the forecast, and the cold extends well south of here. Wheat futures are up on concerns over the cold, but the biggest mover is natural gas. The forecast is cold enough and broad enough that it's moved the natural gas futures market higher by 75% in just a week. It's been decades since nat gas has rallied this far, this fast. Overall, I'm not that impressed by the movement we're seeing in wheat. The market doesn't seem to be too concerned. I'm still calling wheat continued sideways. Seems to be a lot of talk about soybeans and how they are making a technical setup for a rally. I'm not saying that they can't rally, but I'm not seeing anything immediately explosive on the charts. I can see what they're talking about, but I just don't think soybeans are ready for a big move. Maybe there's a surprise on the horizon. Trump is set to have a talk in Iowa on Tuesday the 27th with the topic of energy and the economy. Now pair this with the latest appropriations bill to fund the government being left devoid of expected aid to farmers and no mention of E15 either. I'm wondering if Trump wants to announce something about ethanol or biofuel. Now here's something that I've noticed that Trump does. It seems like he plans for a big announcement, a date is set, and he starts dropping hints about what he's going to cover in his Truth Social posts. And sometimes he's able to make an announcement, and other times the talk is just a big dud. 2 cases in point, his last talk in Iowa was in July, where a Chinese trade deal breakthrough was expected, but all he talked about was how well the country was doing and how the Iowa State Fair was going to be a part of the America 250 birthday celebration in 26. And the second point was his announcement in December to have a block of prime time on the major news networks where it was broadly believed that he was going to announce military strikes on Venezuela, but instead he just talked about how great things were going for his presidency. In both cases, I think he expected things to develop for a great announcement, but then the timing just didn't work out. We know the action in Venezuela was delayed due to weather, and we know that the Chinese deal makers aren't that good at keeping their word. Will Trump have something to announce about ethanol, biofuels, and E15? That would be energy and the economy. Anyway, I think folks are holding their breath, hoping for some good news. I'd sure take it. Folks are also talking about the corn to bean price ratio, currently at about 2.4 to 1. If beans gain much more ground, some marginal acres could be shifted to beans this year. Trader PhD does planting intention surveys every year to give us a good read on what to expect ahead of the USDA, and it's always a favorite with subscribers. Right now, I don't see much tipping the scales at the moment. In South America, things are dry in Argentina and southern Brazil. The weather is starting to move the needle on crop conditions down there, especially in Argentina. I think it's adding some premium to the soybean market. It's way too early to call for a crop failure, but if things persist, this could turn into something bigger. In fats and feeders, markets are holding steady on low volatility after the drop we had on Friday last week. I'm anticipating fats and feeders to carve out a trading range. I think the current one is a bit too narrow right now, and it wants to trade a bit wider, but we've had a solid market tone, and we just haven't had enough chop. Just stay tuned, and we'll see what develops. And in hogs, we reached up and made yet another contract high, and it's doing so on relatively low volatility. That's a bullish sign, so it seems like we may continue to see more fun to come. That's it for today. I'm Chad Toyne, and this has been Trader PhD. Past performance is not indicative of future results. Futures trading involves substantial risk and is not suitable for all investors.